Welcome everybody. Today we are going to be talking to the studio leads for a relatively small but ambitious and experienced casual puzzle game studio called GenJoy, based out of Seville, Spain. And just to give you listeners a little background on the studio before we begin, GenJoy belongs to the leading Spanish mobile gaming group, Genera Games, which was founded in 2002. The founding couple, Jose Miguel and Maria Jesus, have succeeded in scaling the company without ever having received any outside investment. While Genera started out as a developer of mobile content, it pivoted toward mobile gaming when in 2013, Disney hired the company to make a Match-3 game based on then unknown New Nordic Snow Princess IP, which of course is Disney's super successful game Frozen Freefall, now published by Jam City, but still developed and operated by Genera Games. The Frozen Freefall project was the initial seed in the creation of the studio our guest today lead called GenJoy. So today we'll be talking more specifically about one, strategy and product. What kind of strategy and what kind of product differentiation does GenJoy employ to compete against the big guys? Two, marketing. We've heard stories about how the big guys have a huge marketing advantage, or do they? Let's dive deeper and find out how GenJoy competes on a marketing basis. And three, technology infrastructure. There are lots of rumors and stories of a massive infrastructure technology investment by companies like King, especially around machine learning and AI applied to level creation, design, balancing, things like that. What are the technology investments GenJoy will be making to compete? And again, to walk us through all this and more are the three key leads from GenJoy. We've got Alejandro Moreno, Pablo Benitez, and Jesus Bartus. Guys, I thought we could start just by having you guys give a brief introduction of who you are and what you do at GenJoy.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Ale Moreno. I'm leading the studio with my friends Jesus and Pablo. Yeah, I'm in charge of the analytics, QA, some side of the studio. And yeah, well, I was working with for Genera for 7 years or so, and then I moved to King Barcelona. I was part of the production team of Babel Witch Saga 3 and so on, and then I moved back to Genera GenJoy to work with these guys to launch Tuscany Villa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Pablo Benitez. I've been with Genera since, I believe it's now 13 years. And I started as a junior programmer, and I grew with the industry and with the company. A lot of challenges in the path. And now, like 3.5 years or so, I joined Jesus and Alejandro to start this new venture of GenJoy with my friends here that we have been working for so long together, and we wanted to do something, and it's really special. So that's where we are right now. And I'm in charge of the business side of the studio, more focused on the financial, watching where we put our money to make it wisely, our investments. And also I work hand by hand with our CMO to run the operations in the marketing side, really important for us. And also I'm in charge of our second game. Now you will be able to see them in 2021, hopefully.
Great.
Okay, and I'm Jesus Bartus, the third musketeer of GenJoy. Mm-hmm. I joined the company Genera also 6 months later than Pablo, so I made the 15 years also. During that time, I started as a developer too, and we jumped from apps to kid books and then making games. That is what we're doing like for last 7 years or something. I working on a lot of Disney products on that time, Frozen Freefall, Maleficent Freefall, and other titles. And last 3 years, as Pablo and Ale said, we started the GenJoy idea of creating our own products. And our first one was Tuscany Villa. That is the one that we are launching right now. And I'm more on the product side and working a lot of the roadmap things and next things to do in the project.
Okay, great. So maybe just kind of diving right into a lot of the questions, because I've got a lot of questions that I'm definitely very interested to hear your responses about. But first, I thought we could start with strategy. So Match-3, as we all know, is incredibly huge and big market, but also super competitive. So maybe we could start with that. How do you guys view the competitive landscape, especially with respect to some of these bigger players like Playrix and King? What kind of strategy are you guys employing to compete against them?
Okay. Right now, as you said, Match-3 and puzzle and category is like a huge category with a lot of big players there. And we are seeing also like a lot of companies are moving there too. Like other players that are not in casual are moving to casual and things like that. So it's going bigger and bigger. But it's true that it's one of the most important categories on the store. And it's a category that is always kind of growing with the time. So we believe that it's a pretty interesting market, but as you said, has a pretty high competitive range of things that if you go there, you need to be prepared basically for that. So for us, for competing there, we have a lot of experience previous on our company doing Match-3 titles and everything, but we know that if we are going to start with a new idea here or something, we need to do quality work as much as we can. And we need to do quality in every area of the product, not having things like having a brand or something with you can help, but it's not the solution. You need to do quality on the design, quality on the live ops, on everything that you prepare for the title. So we have pretty clear that if we are going to go here, we need to create a product that people want to play, basically, and we need to create a product that stands for itself. So we try to do our best in every area, going from design, tech, analytics, and everything, and use our knowledge to do something that can really compete. So also one of the things that we have in our strategy since the beginning was, if we go in this path, we also, even if we believe that we are doing quality work, we need to test things as soon as we can, so we are sure that we are going in the right path. Because right now you can believe on numbers, but you need to test with real users to see that everything is going in the way. So we wanted to be fast on that and not doing like high production times without knowing what the users are going to see about our product. And as soon as we get real data of people playing and things like that, improve, iterate, and do it again until we reach the numbers we want. So for us in our strategy, one of our key points was retention. And we always were thinking about retention. We need something that people need to play and want to play, and was our key metric to accomplish. And we were pretty exigent with that numbers since the beginning and focus on every retention and 7-day retention and things like that. So we can have something that can really compete there due to the market right now and how everything is going.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying is that given Match-3 is a pretty competitive space, it's a mature market, but fortunately you guys have a lot of experience both in the space and having worked at some of the top companies like King, but really it's about quality in terms of the execution. That's how you guys are going to compete.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
we think quality is a must if you want to enter here, because all the companies are doing great things there. So if you want to compete, you need to be one of them in that quality.
So if we were to think about some of the subgenres, I think that given how mature Match-3 is, we're seeing a lot of different kind of subgenres that have evolved from like the original Candy Crush kind of linear progression based Match-3 model to things like light RPGs like Seriously, to gacha RPGs like Puzzle and Dragons, to builders like the Playrix games. So for you guys, how did you view the different kinds of subgenres in Match-3? And then how did you kind of pick where you wanted to play within Match-3?
Okay, that is a great discussion, because we saw how the market evolved in front of us. Because when we started on Match-3, we started when the Saga games were working. So Frozen Freefall, that was one of the titles that we worked with, was a Saga game at the beginning. It's true that it's pretty interesting what is happening in the Match-3 space. We believe that Match-3 is something that fits great for mobile. So it's a core mechanic that is pretty good for mobile. And that's the reason why so many iterations of it working. Also, Match-3 only, talking about the Match-3 puzzles and everything, are deep and have a lot of space for innovation. So that's why another reason a lot of titles are coming, because they improve the rules, they improve the puzzles and things to do. And also in the monetization side and balancing, as far as we know, Match-3 can find a good balance between putting some difficulty to the player, but feels fair to them. So it's kind of, if you know the tricks and the things to do, it's kind of good for getting a monetization point from it. So that's why we think it's a genre that is there and is going to be there for more time, because in the puzzle, the core of the game works pretty well for doing new things or ideas. The other interesting thing, and it's the most interesting thing, is the meta evolution. What you said, that we take that core gameplay that works and put another thing over it. And that started with the casual things, like only social things, or going to the hardcore ones, or even resource management or city builders or things like that. And it's true that we even did that on Frozen Freefall at some point. We added a layer of building over the game that worked pretty well. And for us was like a eye-opening of, okay, you can't do that on a game with so many years. What happens if you do it in a new game or something like that? So for us, we believe that right now, even how the market it is, there are options to find new combination of Match-3 plus something that can be interesting for players. Because Match-3, as I said, work pretty well for mobile sessions and everything, and people like to play. A lot of a big fan base of that. So for us, we decided to go in the narrative building side because our team was accommodated to do a lot of content during these years, and content is a main thing that you should do well if you go to the building side or something. So for us was one of our strengths to do that. And also the branded product we did help us a lot for doing that. And for selecting our specific approach to go with that, we created a team of people that know how to work on that kind of project first, small team with talented and that can go do fast prototypes of the idea, because we wanted to test it as soon as we can. And also, as I said before, we wanted to reach users as soon as possible to be sure that the idea is working. And we create a concept that we call it minimum awesome products, that were builds that the player feels as complete, but for us it's only a shell showing what we want until the level we want. So they can play levels, maybe they think that they have 100 levels, but we only have 30 or something, but the game itself shows as complete. So that gives us the opportunity of measure retention data and things like that without entering or dipping on the store or other things like that, and iterate a lot. Right. And then our second problem was the theme. What is the theme that we want to do this building or narrative game?
Yeah.
So we made a lot of market research. We put ideas, we selected, we did brainstorm sessions, we let people time to decide or what to do. We thought a lot about if we are going a deco game or something, should be something that is rich on areas to decorate, and was on one of our maximum goals to achieve. So at the end, we ended with two big candidates. We were thinking about going in the food things with restaurants or something, or going to the hotel space. And we select hotel because even we did some split metrics tests with fake profiles to measure the differences and things like that. For us, the hotel setting was the best for creating stories around it. So if we're going to do a narrative game, we need a place for doing stories. And hotel is great because we have guests that can visit the player. And we also have a lot of ideas of places to fix and offers variety. And for us was like a clear winner of creating content in long term, in years or something like that. So that's why how we selected that specific theme for this game.
Got it. So it sounds like the way that you arrived on this, and we're basically talking about Tuscany Village, right? Is that you guys, based upon your experience, based upon what you guys were strong at, then you decided, okay, this is the kind of game that you wanted to make. Then you tested a bunch of different concepts, and then based upon which concept can allow you guys to fulfill the narrative stuff as well as what tested the best, that's how you guys kind of zeroed in on the specific game concept. And then, like, how did you guys think about, one big question that a lot of game studios have is like the amount of differentiation that they put into the game.
Yep.
So how would you guys think about, do we just make a really solid quality product that fits an existing model? Or do you go for that a little bit of additional +1? Or do you try and add a lot of additional changes and new things to make the game more unique? How did you guys think about that aspect of the game design?
Yeah, that's another important point because you are going to do a new game for the store. What are the difference that the new game puts over the other ones and everything? It's true that, I'm being honest, we tried different things before Tuscany, and we tried different prototypes, and we tried different ideas outside of doing a Match-3 narrative game, and we went wild on that concept, and we failed. It's true that it's not bad to admit it. We failed, and we learned. What we learned is, at some point, if you are doing something that is 90% new or 70% new, the first problem you have is you need to make something that is fun. That is not easy. It's not easy. It's pretty difficult. But okay, you made something that is fun. You have something that people like to play. So we have even some concepts that we felt that are fun and things like that. So pass at that stage. You find another two big problems that for us that are, okay, you need to find a way of monetizing it that can take a long time until you put it live and you see data or see whatever. And also you need to find a way of maintaining it in the long term. So maybe you create a good set of new rules of something, but doesn't scale with the time or have problems in the long term or something like that. So for us, after that efforts we did, we went a step back and said, okay, let's do the other way. Let's do something that we know how to do. We take the advantages of the strengths of the team we have and check what we are good for. And in that case, for us, going again, we have a people that know how to make puzzle games. We know how to balance them. We know how to level design and things like that. We have, for the other side, an ability of content creation. We know how to do characters and things like that. So, and we know how to do live ops over that kind of games. So mixing everything, we have we have narrative and we have building as two options that we can select because both fits for that. We went for narrative because also we believe that narrative has a pretty strong potential of attachment with the player. And if we do it well, we can have something that is even more interesting than only building. We like building a lot and resource management and things like that, but we believe that narrative could fit better for this time. So once we have decided all of this, we started to look on the store thinking of, okay, how many narrative games with Deco we have in the range of top 50 to 150 grossing, because we wanted to point on that direction, because pointing higher, we know that it's the high UA expensive markets and things like that. So we pointed in on a more real scenario for us that will be totally profitable at some point. And we are even competing with big ones in that range. And we found that we have a really possibility there of doing something. So for us was, okay, everything is kind of fits. So going again, if our strengths are, we can do the content, the Match-3 and everything, one of our weaknesses was that we never made a narrative game. So what we did was, okay, let's take the setup that helps more for creating narrative. That was the other thing at that point. And also we put a lot of concern on that and we focus a lot on that. So knowing that is something that we never did, we put a lot of effort on doing as much well as we can. So I think that kind of worked also because we put so many concerns of that the game has a better narrative because of that, because people were concerned about failing on that. So we put a lot of effort. And once everything was decided, we started with the team separating one for the Match-3 and working on the mechanics, core mechanics, what we're going to change, what is different, because we even believe that we are doing a Match-3 game, we need to change rules and do things different so the game feels with some novelty. And in the other side, with the story, what things want to add different and things like that. And then we started with what our green light process is. And as I said before, we enter on releasing as soon as we can, measuring early retention data, moving from day 1 to day 7 until we didn't accomplish one step, we didn't go to the next one, and then focusing on the latest steps on LTV, day 30 retention, and things like that. So at the end, a lot of iteration, a lot of hard work, and try to find differences from other products, taking our strengths as the main thing to.
Right, and Jesus, you had mentioned your greenlight process, and just for the audience, could you actually describe what that actually looks like in terms of milestones and checkpoints? So for you guys,
Yeah, right now our green light process, if we go to the first stage of our green light process, it starts with an idea that we can put several ideas in different parts of whatever we think is better. And then we try that ideas with fake profiles on the store. We use split metrics and test a full profile with the screenshots, faking the game. That gives us a clue of how percentage of conversion we have, is we are far enough of what we think is a good concept or not. But it's only for measuring that we are not doing something that people doesn't like directly. So when we found a concept that works, and we think that works, we started what I called before MAPs, that are these small versions of the game that looks like finished for the user, but for us it's only a shell of what we want to show. So for example, if our first one measures day one retention and have enough content to play 1 or 2 days. And for us, the important thing is, okay, we need to retain almost certain number of people from day 0 to day 1. If we don't have that, at least people has no interest on this game. Then we expanded it to day 7. Until day 7, we are not talking about anything related to money. We are talking only about retention, because we think it's the thing that your game need to stand out in that time. And then our next step is to work on day 30, long-term LTVs and things like that. That is the longer part of the game during the process, sorry. So in that part that we are talking about LTV and things, that is when we rework on all parts of the game and starting to do the pre-production of the game, because everything is starting to know that it's something to work. But if one step fails, we give the project an opportunity, 2-3 opportunities to iterate. And if we iterate and improve numbers, we continue. But if we iterate and doesn't get anything better, we should think about canceling the project or move to another thing and things like that. And also, one important thing is we focus on doing during all that stages big changes. We are not focusing on small changes. If something doesn't work, we need to do a big change to make it work. Or if we introduce something, it should be something big enough to deserve in that moment to be introduced. So we focus a lot on things that drive numbers during that process.
And across the industry, we hear different sort of cancellation rates through Greenlight. So at Supercell, it might be really high. It might be 10 failures to 1 success. At Blizzard, they say it's very low. It's something like more like 50%, so 1 to 1. So for you guys, like how many projects or how many concepts failed before getting through the Greenlight?
Well, that I don't know, Paulo.
I can answer that because I was responsible of many of them. I'm proud to be the one that failed the most. Probably 15 wow. Or okay. Different concepts we tried before. They were very small, as Jesus said, and those were prototypes. Those are the ones that passed the green light to prototypes. Ideas and concepts were way higher, or 50 or more. We're very creative, creating new ideas in that stage. And the iterations were small at the beginning. The ideas and concepts were very quickly. Then the prototypes, maybe 3-4 weeks to prototype. Then our MAP and our minimum awesome product could take us 2 months or so to be shown to the players.
Got it. Okay, so I thought we could switch to marketing, and maybe the big elephant in the room, we're hearing about some of these big game companies with these massive budgets. And in fact, there was a point last year where Glue Mobile, even on one of their investor calls, talked about how they had to scale back marketing because 2 companies, basically Playrix and the Match-3 guys, had gotten into an arms race over UA. So I guess first question, given how competitive the genre you're going in from a marketing perspective, how well can small companies compete on a marketing basis against the big guys? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that at least we can find our space. People play several games every day, and the switching cost is very low. So they have several games that they like. Maybe they have the first option, the second one, the third one. So you can be always one of those. If you create something good and new, why not? And once you're there, maybe right now we are not a big competitor for the big ones, like Playrix and King. But once you're there, if you do the things right and you keep improving, as Jesus was mentioning, with the live ops, getting better in analytics, in UA and everything, you can start to steal some market share, I believe, getting better, increasing your profitability, you are able to scale, and slowly but steady, you can become a competitor for the big ones, and be profitable there. For example, you saw, 4 years ago when Playrix came in, and now is the leader. Who would have thought about that, having King that position, and even the Candy Crush franchise is going really good still, they are solid performance still. And other games like Lily's Garden are new incumbents and are performing really well, and stealing some market share and more market share in there. So I think that we can do it.
So from the perspective of budget, what kind of a budget is required to compete against some of these bigger guys? Or what is your specific marketing approach so that you can minimize the amount of budget that you would need to compete against those guys?
It's tough, especially in the narrative plus builder games. You need a lot of production in there. So there's a lot of early investment in that game. You need to put a lot of effort in creating the quality that Jesus was mentioning. And also when you go live ops, you don't reduce the team. We are doing game as a service, so we need to give players more content, of more quality. And if you want to scale, you need to be better at what you're doing. So the more you invest in the game at the beginning, the more you need to invest on marketing, So we ended up with right now, I believe that we are investing 4 times more in marketing, especially in the UA side, than in the production of the game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah.
Pretty significant budget.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then,
it is.
Got it. And Jesus talked about a lot of testing on the product side during soft launch and concept testing and things like that. But on the marketing side, how did you guys think about testing in terms of, how you approach marketing or scaling spend? What kinds of testing did you do for marketing?
At the beginning, we helped the product, as Jesus said, with some customer research with fake profiles, but also, trying to get insights from the customers of what they liked. And we also took the chance, since we are doing all the tests that we did with the MAP, we try to do with real players. So we started to test some creativities, try different things, video ads, statics with different concepts to see which ones were converting better. And in the soft launch is where we did the biggest effort in that side. We try to outsource a lot of creativities to widen our options of creatives and learn what are the trends or the concepts that were working better. Always looking to improve the conversion of the creatives, but also taking care of the retention. If you show something that is not close to what the people see in the game, maybe it doesn't perform as good as it could, So you need to find that perfect balance. At the end, it's a matter of ROAS. So at the beginning, we tested only the conversion because we were focusing on retention. But once we put monetization inside, it was a balance of, having great LTVs, getting high quality users inside the game, and testing that different concepts to bring people inside.
What about the marketing team itself? How did you view scaling up the marketing team, and what kinds of people do you have on the marketing team to market against your game?
Well, regarding the team, we had a small team, multidisciplinary inside, that were able to cover the soft launch at the beginning, but we needed a leader for that. We wanted to keep it flexible, that's when Luis de la Cámara joined us, our CMO, that has a strong background in that. And with that core, very flexible because they know everything about UA, CRM, customer support, all things that involve marketing. When we approached the launch and we wanted to scale, we decided to outsource other, the activities that we lack the experience. For example, in the UI buying and in the creative side, we partnered with Consumer Acquisition and Naptic, are the two agencies that are working closely with us. You know, they are third parties, but they are like an extension of our team. We have really great communications with them, because if everything is going well for us, it's going to be well for them, you know? So it's, and we focus on what we do best, which is creating a high quality product. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it probably helps that. I think consumer acquisition also worked on the Firecraft stuff as well.
Yeah, it helps with some, well, it's insights, you know, that you can see everywhere, you know.
Right. Okay, great. And so maybe switching now to technology infrastructure, and, you know, one of the big rumors in the industry is about just how much technology infrastructure big companies like King are bringing to bear to give you competitive advantage. So, you know, how are you guys viewing the technology infrastructure to give you your studio competitive advantage in Match-3?
Okay,
like what kind of technology should we be thinking about, I guess more specifically?
Okay, I'll jump to that. Okay, so as Pablo said and Jesus said, the current market, it's a bit saturated, I will say. So first of all, you have to define what is your objective and where you want to compete. No, as Jesus said, if you want to compete on the first 50 of the top grossing or the next league, you have to define where you want to be. Once you have defined that, I think you have to kind of, okay, so let's try to have a strategy between external services and in-house development. And for us, as we have been, as Jesus said at the beginning, we have been working with the big publishers like Disney and so on as a developer. So for Tuscany Villa, we choose the option of, okay, so let's use a mix between the in-house tooling and in the external services. So we kind of like, okay, so we take what is built outside of our company, we take it, we buy, for example, we use Firebase, we use Delta DNA as a data warehouse, we use different type of tooling, and we say, let's take them, let's use them, let's try to learn from them, and at some point, maybe in the close future, we can start building it in-house. But it depends a lot on where you want to be and the risk that you want to take. But it's true that for companies like King or Playrix or so on, they want to have everything in-house. But for us, it's a learning process, and it's a iterative process and a long process to scale on the top grossing. We believe that to have a mixed strategy is the best option. So we choose that. Yeah.
And just in thinking about where to deploy investment for our technology infrastructure, in terms of whether it's in the development process, in terms of live ops tools, in terms of marketing, how are you trying to determine how much to invest in, you know, specific types of tools for those three different areas?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, in terms of pure dev, we will say, and live ops, if we try to balance that fight, we believe that it depends a lot on the maturation phase of the game. For example, Tuscany Villa, it's launching. We launched it on the 14th of April. So it's kind of launching. So now it's the moment, until now has been the moment to build features, to test everything, to be ready for the launch date and everything. So now I think it's the moment to shift a bit to live ops. We have some tools like the level balancing dashboard to balance the levels, and now it's the moment to start. Okay, so let's build a CRM tool. Let's build a way to deliver content to the player. So now it's the moment to shift a bit. So now I will say that we are like kind of, in terms of effort, we are 90% against 10% in favor of dev tools, and in terms of dev. But our idea is at the end of the year, we will be like 70-30 or something like that. So that is the idea. And in terms of product and marketing, it's a bit different because Pablo, Jesus, and myself, and the whole studio, and Luis in that side, we believe that the product and marketing, as Pablo said, it's kind of we need to like collaborate a lot. We love to collaborate. We have a lot of initiative to have feedback in marketing, the campaigns, of the quality of the user, feedback on the roadmap from the game team. So we have a lot of collaboration between both sides. So I will say that if we talk about the number of people, there are a lot of people working on investing on the game. But if we talk about money, as Pablo said, we are investing a lot on the marketing side. So in terms of tools, I will say that in product we have a lot of effort, but in marketing we are shifting as well. So it's kind of the same in terms of dev and live tools with marketing and the product. So we are shifting to more support in analytics for sure to the marketing team. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, and maybe taking a more specific example, because I think the big rumor in the industry is that King has made this massive, again, rumor that they've made a massive investment in terms of machine learning and AI for like content creation, optimization, you know, like like balancing and tuning, things like that. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, there's mixed messages about how much of that is real, how much of it delivers competitive advantage. So like in terms of specific technology investments you guys are making, can you speak to whether that is an area for you guys or whether there's another specific area that you guys are investing in?
Yeah, we're investing a lot of in the product, and we are investing a lot of, for example, on the Match-3, the logic engine. We have investing a lot on that. We are in some functions, like for example, the dynamic difficulty we have, the segmentation by the player, this dynamic store that we have on the offer. So we have been working a lot on the how to deliver the content to the players. So, and the machine learning is the next area that we want to be focused on the next and the close future. Yeah. Yeah. But for you
guys more around optimization, like dynamic bouncing, and then on payment optimization, like offers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
In terms of the machine learning and AI optimization, I know that, as you said, Playrix and a lot of big companies, big players are doing a great effort on the machine learning side, how to create content by some algorithm. But we believe that the next thing that we want to move, as I said, the machine learning for the optimization of the levels and taking like, say, let's forget about the average user and let's try to have different cluster of type of user and let's try to create different experience based on the different type of player instead of one average player only. Yeah. So yeah,
what we don't believe is that a machine needs to create the experience for the player. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the levels are created, are handcrafted. You know, the strategy, the mechanics, all it's from our level designers. But it's true that machine learning is helping already to dynamically balance our levels to the exact point, and it will help with that kind of optimizations. But the core of the game needs to be done by. We believe that needs to be done by people, you know. So far,
we'll see. Maybe in 1 month or 2 months, we see a huge change on the industry. But I don't know. I think optimization is the key right now.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we've talked product strategy, we've talked marketing, we've talked technology. Is there any other area I'm missing? So when we're talking about you guys as a smaller studio competing against these like billion-dollar giants, what are the other things that we should be thinking about in terms of, for you guys, it's kind of David versus Goliath to compete against those guys?
Yeah, for me, one thing, and for us, for Pablo and Jesus and myself, one thing that is key and it's really important is the team and the culture and the talent of the people and to have passion in the studio. And it's true that our way of managing the studio or leading the studio, we can say, is to share responsibility. We have a kind of flat structure. So we love to be hands-on. All of us, we love to be hands-on. I've been running some queries before the scene, so we can do it. So we love to work with everyone and we work on anything that we can have. So I will say that it's really important to have the culture, to have the proper team, and to have like a good philosophy. Our philosophy is to enjoy working. It's part of our claim. So we love to enjoy working. And one thing that we really love is our location, Sevilla, Andalucía. It's really nice and we love that city and we love that our area. We were born there. So we love the culture of this and the way of living of the city. Yeah. So people.
So maybe we could actually, if you don't mind, I like to dig into that a little bit more in terms of team and culture, right?
Yeah.
So like, what do you think specifically? And, you know, I think, so I agree with you, but I'm saying like, when we think about like the team that's working on Candy Crush, which might be like probably a huge team, maybe like 150 people or more, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have a huge advantage, right? And we're talking about, the rumor is that of those 150, there are a lot of leads, you know what I'm saying? So like, so can you guys speak to how, when you think about your team, when you think about your culture against that kind of a competition, what do you guys think about? How can you guys structure your team or structure your process or build your culture so that you can actually have an advantage against a more well-resourced company like that?
Yeah, for me, as I say, is the passion. For me, is the responsibility sharing. We believe that everyone has a responsibility, and we don't believe on the leads hat. So you are the lead, so you have to take the decision. We believe on the decision of the ideas of everyone, and the culture. Yeah. So I believe our advantage is the people, and the people that we have in the studio, and the passion.
And the communication, you know, we have great communication between each other, and we try to be lean. You know, being so big is really difficult to manage everything. There is a lot of overhead of managing that, and in our teams, everyone is responsible for the success of the game. So, and that helps a lot with the passion that Alejandro was mentioning. You know, it's part of our values. You know, to have fun with what we do, to create fun games, and to do that we need to be small, you know, like a family. We've been friends for, I don't know, we were talking about 13 years, but I started with Jesus, you know, I know him from 20 years ago. So yeah, I think that there is a small competitive advantage that we have in there.
Yeah, only for adding more on top of that, it's true that having a medium size, because we are not small, because we are not 4 guys doing something, we are like 20 or something for a team or more. But it's true that has its advantages because of that, because you don't have medium layers, so you can move fast on decisions, you can do things faster. And we try to take advantage of that, really, because it's true that having that, we can make a quick meet to decide something or go fast with a decision. And it's true that our management also give us a lot of opportunity there for us, because we have plenty of decisions that we can take from ourselves and do for making the product better, and everything is totally in our hands. And the team take it as a responsibility for them. And my other thing that I want to point also that working for us is thinking on the team you have and the things that you can do with that team is a good point. If take the strengths of your team and think about what they are good for, and let them to do what they know what to do. So if you can take that advantage in your product, you are making big steps of advancing faster for getting results and great quality things and things like that.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the questions that I have. Do you have a final message for our audience, or maybe you could speak to any kinds of, if you're looking to hire, if anyone wants to reach out to you, how would they get in touch with you guys to join you guys?
Yeah, you can contact us in GenJoy.com or LinkedIn, and our message. We are looking for full stack developers, 3D artists. So we are growing, and we need to kind of keep being competitive. So yeah, so my message: if you want to join the winning team, come to us. So yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
As Alex said, we are in a growing stage, and we want to hire more people to continue with this title and our next ideas and projects. So yeah, follow us on GenJoy or LinkedIn to contact us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. There you have it. The 3 leads from GenJoy working on their game Tuscany Village. So check that out as well. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. It was great to talk to you today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
It was a pleasure.
Bye.